I'm kicking off a second series on this channel in the midst of the P's of the Alphabet series. Despite tons of ideas in the works, I'm having a bit of a writer's block and a general life funk at the moment. And rather than holding off on uploading anything at all for an undetermined amount of time, I decided to fall back on some previously published material from another ongoing series on my blog, my Birth of a Feminist series. This collection consists of stories from various points in my life that have contributed to what I am today. And as I often say, if men weren't a constant problem for women and girls, then feminism wouldn't exist and wouldn't need to exist. I firmly believe that women need to insist on telling their stories, not just for healing purposes, but to create an historical record that is almost completely ignored and is frequently erased by the victors of the many battles in the ages-old sex war that was started and continued by males. Today's women don't know where they come from, and tomorrow's won't either, unless our stories are told. And with that, I'll start with a post from 2015 that tells of one of my formative moments that occurred almost 40 years ago. The girl and the stranger in the car. Although our goals may be similar, there are two significant differences between serious feminists and superheroines. First, true feminists wear comfortable, woman-friendly clothes. And second, unlike superheroines, feminists don't usually have a clear, specific origin story. Rather, we have moments of clarity or realization, moments that accumulate, moments that may not become significant or actionable until later, sometimes in combination with other moments. Sometimes it is a seemingly small event or moment that puts a lifetime of horror into perspective. You meet someone, you read something, or you see or experience something that just makes you say, I see what is going on, and I've had enough. It is a matter of right time, right place, and readiness or openness. Although it may happen, I think it is a rare woman who, like Athena, is born clad in full warrior gear. In this vein, if asked when I became a feminist, I don't think I could tell you. There have been many significant events that have made me what I am, and I'm still developing. I still make typical mistakes. That is gender programming, and it takes a lifetime to siphon the poison from one's personal psychology and behavior. I still remember an early formative moment. It's something I think about decades later, and it still guides me. It's not the most important formative event, but rather one of many. I was 13. It was a winter evening at about 9:30 p.m. It was freezing, dark, snow everywhere. I had attended my father's university lecture in psychology. We were driving home. I was sitting in the passenger seat in the front of the car, looking out the window, and I saw her, a woman being dragged by her hair across the snow into a bush. She was fighting, but not winning. The man who had her was bigger and determined, and it was late on a weeknight in the winter. There was no one around. I shouted to stop the car. Startled, my father pulled over. I pointed and insisted. We intervened. The man ran off. We hustled the woman into our car and drove her home. She was mostly silent, but we learned that her attacker was her ex-husband. I was also silent, emotions confused. I was learning something important. I realized that had I not seen her and done something bad would have happened, but my understanding wasn't nuanced. And afterwards, my father, the brilliant psychologist, never spoke a word about it. I was not debriefed, not counseled. I was left to draw my own conclusions. Possibly he remembered having to intervene when his father beat his own mother. No excuse, though. When I look back at that child from the perspective of an adult, I'm shocked, saddened, and I wish I could go back to do damage control. But would I be what I am and do what I do if I'd not worked through that business alone? A girl is exposed to explicit, real-life violence, a stranger's near rape, beating, or murder. She plays a significant role in ending that violence, shares a space with the stranger for a few minutes, the significant connection between them left unarticulated, the silence controlled by another man, and then the child is left to wonder, to analyze, to worry, to fear, to build a schema. It was only years later, after many, many object lessons on what men were, thought about, and did to women, after intervening in other near rapes and beatings, that I realized that the woman I had saved years before was only temporarily safe from this specific man in her life, and generally from all men, no matter where or when. There is no beginning and end to violence for women. There are episodes in a lifetime of fear, and there are many lifetimes. This woman was one of millions and millions and millions through time. We are all that woman at some point. And to not be a feminist, to not want female freedom from male violence and control, is just not an option. For me, at least.